Hey guys, it's Frank, and we're celebrating April Pools, which is April is the National Drowning Awareness Month, and so this is the perfect time to bring in one of my favorite companies and one of my favorite products. Actually, they have multiple products. It's Allsafe Pools at allsafepool.com. There's no S on that. There's allsafepool.com. And today I'm talking with Dave Woods, who is like their mad scientist in the back room. He comes up with all these
emphasis on mad.
it's always coming up with improvements and just very innovative, coming up, in things that, help, we don't step out of the realm of ASTM, which is the national standards that, or actually world standard accepted by much of the world, standards for, like drowning prevention products, the installation, the actual, what the products are made out of, and the testing that goes into these products. But Dave, I appreciate you coming on. You ready for this?
Thanks for having me. Totally. I'm ready to go.
And you're in y'all's little studio. Yeah. And
this is my office. I'm lucky. I have a sound studio and a photography studio, and I'm in the corner of the building, so no one bugs me.
And it's going to be awesome because you're actually going to be able to show me some of y'all's products, which I'm excited about. You just got through telling me about your fancy camera that you're bragging about that will follow you.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
So y'all's products, of course, it isn't all about barriers. We tell people, look, number one thing is, teach that child to swim. They can start at 3 or 4 months now. And me and Jackie will talk about, I'm sure we just talked about that before we came on here into the recording. Adult supervision, aware adult supervision is always critical. But my up there with those is barriers, things that are effective barriers to keep children, pets away from the pool and away from the dangerous situation. And this is where you guys excel. And let's talk about your safety nets. First of all, make sure everybody understands what your safety net is. Let's go there.
Let me grab one real quick. I've got a little display here in my bag of tricks. So
awesome.
We have a net. You can actually put a net over the pool, and it's a little deceptive because we have customers who say, well, they can still access the water. And according to ASTM, it just has to hold a child out of the water so that their head will not be in the water. And if we have pools that are not safe to put a net on, we won't do it.
Yeah.
For a good example, Infinity Edge, very popular, but putting a net on it is not a good idea because the net is right on the water, which means a child could drown with that. So we have a dummy here at the shop, and I'm not talking about me. It's an actual real dummy. I could go on with jokes, but I'm going to try to keep it straight here.
We're never serious. So you can say anything you want about the dummy. Please don't tell me you named it Frank.
Yeah, it's actually Jimmy.
Jimmy, okay.
And it's according to ASTM, we have a dummy which is the size that they did their tests on. So we could do our tests as well to make sure that it is working correctly. This is the misconception with pool fencing and pool nets is that, well, I have a pool fence, I bought it, and the pool fence says that it's ASTM compliant. But when I installed it, a kid still could get around it. But then why is it ASTM compliant? Because the install also has to be ASTM compliant as opposed to just the product. So
that's
if it's not installed correctly, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I see this on a lot of homeowner installs where they bought the product online and they didn't follow, and they definitely don't have the training. Like we went out there, we spent a week with you guys training on proper installation to be ASTM compliant. And and homeowner, and I'm the same way. If it's not my profession, it's like if I buy a box from IKEA and it comes to the
Yeah.
house, I
Yeah.
ain't looking at all those instructions. A lot of it kind of explains itself, and then you
Yeah.
end up
Yeah.
with a not correctly assembled product.
And a bunch of
But
leftover parts. You're like, wait a minute, I'm
yeah,
supposed to use these somewhere.
it's,
I fixed my wife's dryer the other day and I had 2 screws. I'm like, well, see if it works.
okay. But
And it
but on
does, but
but
yeah,
but
it has to
on
be
the
installed correct.
net, yeah, on the net, if because it is a safety product, and to be ASTM, it has to be able to support a child so many feet from the edge of the pool
Right.
if
It's
they're
like 6
out
feet
over the
from the
water.
edge. Yeah. 30
And
pounds.
and
And
yeah,
yeah,
was it 30 pounds? Is that what you
30
said?
pounds. Yeah.
And it can only deflect so far into the water. This
Yeah.
isn't a
That's
trampoline.
no, but you'd be surprised how many kids play on it. I actually
Yes.
had a customer say that she encouraged her kids to play on it. I was like, oh no. But yeah, it's not trampoline. And the people think that they can just walk out on the net and not encounter water. But the thing is, an adult is much heavier than a child. So yeah, they could walk out on it and they're going to get up to, we had one customer who took a picture of himself. And I saw the picture the other day. He was about to his mid shin in water and he was complaining that this doesn't work. It's like, well, you're what, 185 pounds?
And you're an
And you're only
adult.
mid shin and yeah. Chances of a child being able to get out to the center of the pool where most of the deflection is going to happen. Yeah, it's not only that, but you have to tell the child that this is not a toy.
Yes.
We always say that, we have to tell the child that the fence that we put around the pool is not an item that you can run into and bounce the ball off of. It's not a toy. It's a safety item. So as long as the kids understand that and there's some supervision behind it, it's going to work. Same thing with the net.
Right. And I may make some parents out there angry right here, but here's something that, every parent should try. Many of you are trying it and you're doing a very good job of it, but it's one word: no. You
Yeah.
know, you know, they get near the pool, even though you have the safety cover, it's still no. You don't want them playing on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's yes, there's never, to my understanding, there's never been a drowning associated with a properly installed safety net like your product.
I haven't
Is
heard of
that
anything, but
yeah, it's
possible.
I was told that, and I tend to believe it because I
Yeah.
don't see how it's possible. A
Yeah.
small child, because a small child may still dip and get wet, and they can get their hands through it and get wet.
Sure.
Demonstrate the size of these holes.
These are 3.5 inches. Let me move my mic over a little bit. Actually, let me move the camera. Be a little easier.
All right.
Can you see that? They're 3.5
Yes,
inches. This
yes.
square is 3.5 inches.
And
So there's no way a child is going to get through. ASTM is 4 inches.
yes,
So
and y'all have a test sphere that's 4 inches, correct?
right. It
That
has to be less than 4 inches.
right.
So we go 3.5. There's something else that's different about our nets is that we use 5 millimeter net material. The industry standard is 4 mil. And so we could do that and we could make more money. But with everything that we do, and you've seen this, we go over. Our
Right.
amplifiers go to 11. So I mean,
Yeah.
everything we do is everything is we're trying to exceed. And this is something this really hit me. You've probably seen the show on HGTV, Homes on Homes.
Yes.
I don't know, Mike Holmes, whatever his name is.
Yes.
He's from Canada. And he was talking about codes, and it applies to us as well. And he's like, the code is the minimum requirement. Why would you want to shoot for minimum?
Right.
So we always shoot for way better than what the minimum is. So that's why we use 5 millimeter.
Yeah, and it is a stronger product. Have y'all done the testing on how much stronger?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, well, it's 20% stronger, correct? So let's assume
Yeah.
20%. I mean, 20% thicker. So let's assume 20% stronger. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've the only time that we have problems with them breaking is if they've been left on the side yard, the people roll them up and maybe put them away for a while, maybe for the summer or for a few months. And then you have rodents that will chew on them.
Yeah.
When they're on the pool, we've had rodents or dogs chew on them. So if you're not careful, you have to, it's like, your car, you go out there and the tire's flat, you're not going to keep driving it. So you
Right.
have to be observant of the item and see if there is something wrong with it. Just give us a call. We go out, we repair it, and it's all
And
good.
they are repairable. They are
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We do. It's fun for me. I like repairing the nets.
Now, the display, and this is actually a display you're
Yeah.
making for me for my
Right.
shop, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Like the color? Shiny.
Yes, yeah, it's we call that cranberry, sir. But now on the display it shows where it's anchored right there at the edge, but of course on a pool we're going further back. We're
Yes.
typically we're trying to get 12 to 18 inches minimum.
Yeah. Typically when we're doing an install, we want to see at least one full square over the coping so
Okay.
that there are no gaps. Obviously in the corner here, you see this is all open. I can stick my arm through.
Right.
It's still ASTM compliant, but we would not install it this way. It would actually be over the edge.
Yes,
and it would be completely covered.
Right. So in the corner, it may only extend an inch or two past the corner if it is a tight scenario where say we're having to drill in the coping. We can't actually, there's no deck and it's coping only.
Yeah.
We could still get some extension over that corner.
Right.
So, and
it's
and the anchors are typically we on this style net we want to go 24 inches minimum.
Yeah, on a net you'd be probably
or 24 inches maximum.
Maximum, yeah.
In between,
we do some that are even like if we have elevation changes, we could have anchors within 6 or 7 inches of each other just to keep the net down. So we do put in more anchors to make sure that we keep it down when you're going up over a stair, or a step or a elevation change. We do add some, but about 24 inches would be about the max. If we have a spa, we could be, if it's small, 12 inches. It depends on the pool. There's some parameters that we follow.
And I want to discuss. I've seen some similar nets. It's the 3-inch hole net that people have bought online, and they brought it home, and they just kind of anchor it around the pool. That really doesn't qualify. I mean, if somebody saw the process, and and I'm going to try to post some videos, or if you could post some videos, send some videos to me where I can show the wrapping that goes into how that outer edge. We have a double wrap.
It's actually 3.
Oh, is it 3 wrap? You're right. It is 3.
It's the net is 1,
right?
Then the first wrap around the pool, and then the last wrap. So it's 3 layers of protection that's connected to each anchor. And this is done this way. This is 3.
Yes. Oh, so yeah. Can you get that a little closer to the camera so we can see the 5 mil or 4 mil? I'm sorry. Is it 4 mil?
4 mil. Yeah.
And then the outer edge
3
is 3, where we've gone around the pool twice after stretching the net, cutting our excess. We go around and we wrap that outer one, so it's actually triple strength, triple layer.
Take all 3. They're independent too. So if one of them broke, you have 2 as a backup.
Yeah,
so,
it is. It doesn't, like, the whole thing doesn't just snap off.
No.
And so it's a pretty involved process. It takes a lot of time and
a lot of strength.
Boy, you better wear some freaking gloves, because holy cow, you'll get a blister.
It's rough on the hands.
Yeah, you want to get a quarter way around with getting blister. I'm one of those guys is like, men don't wear gloves. Yeah, I got about a quarter. I got blisters that
you want to use your hands the next day. Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. I was going to use this. Yeah. But so in the anchors, do you got some anchors handy where you can show how the anchors actually work?
I don't have any.
Or maybe just a close up on those, because these are keyhole anchors.
Keyhole anchors. Yeah. So these go flush on the deck. Let's see if there we go. We got it good. Yeah. So that's flush to the deck. So you're not going to have any trip hazard. No one's going to stub their toe. It's very minimal. It's 3/4 of an inch. So it's a minimal hole, and it just hammers right into and stays in the deck. And then
Did
the
you have a
ball is
hook
there.
handy?
I
So,
think
so
I
we can
might.
show them what the hook looks like?
The keyhole uses these clips. So it actually clips in the deck, and then we put the net through once the net is tied, and then we crimp this down so it cannot come off the net. So that's our traditional. We also on spas, a lot of most times when we have a spa around a pool, the customer wants to use the spa, but they don't want to take the whole net off. Can you imagine having a giant pool and you just want to use a little spa for a
Right.
few hours? So what we do around the spa is we do what's called a threaded anchor. So the threaded anchor is something that goes up, and then I can actually connect to it with.
And that's like a traditional, like safety cover, like loop lock
Yes,
style.
or the net. It's also with the net.
Right.
But what I can do is I can actually use what's called a loop tool, and it's a leverage tool that will take this off. And we have that on our YouTube video. Our YouTube channel is Allsafe Pool. If you want to check out some of the videos, we demonstrate how to do this. It will take it off, and then you can just flop the net that is on the spa over, and you can use your spa. And then when you're done, well, actually before that, you can actually screw this down so it's flush as well. You'd use a long Allen wrench so it becomes flush with the deck. And then when you want to put it back on, you unscrew this, which brings up the head of that, and then it hooks back on with the same loop tool, and then you're back in business. Your spa is covered again.
So we can use either style anchor. It's, I guess, whatever's advantageous. They're both ASTM compliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's not an issue at all. But all right, and I want to show on the on your display that you've made for me. You gave an example what a leaf cover over the top of that. Of course, the leaf cover would extend well over the edge of the pool.
Right.
So now this is a easy on, easy off. The leaf cover is very easy on, easy off.
Yeah.
But it will keep, you got the safety factor. And when it comes leaf season, or right now here in Texas, we're about to get beat up really bad with these tassels that come off these oaks. So, so you can quickly throw on the leaf cover, or in the fall, if you got like red oaks and stuff like that are dropping leaves, that will also keep those leaves off, and you have the safety barrier under it. But typically, when people buy these safety nets, which is the blue in this example, and you can get them in multiple colors. When they buy those, that's for a off on, on when you're not using, and then you want to go out with the kids. It's fairly easy to get the leaf net, or I'm sorry, the safety net off the pool, and then fairly easy to put back
it up on the roller. Yeah.
Now, right. So, and these nets are great. Like I said, they got a 100% safety record, is my understanding. But still, what some people don't realize, when we go out and we sell these safety nets, we do want to make them understand that if, like, it's a petite woman or an older person that, is not real good at, has issues bending over and back issues, even though they think this is what they want, and it's not 3 or 4 minutes to put on and take off, it's more like 10 to 15 with a healthy, decent sized individual. A lot of times we go out, and after they think they want this net, and after we talk to them, it's like, you know what, this is a great answer for a lot of people, but it's not the right answer for some people. Actually, probably more than half decide, you know what, maybe the net isn't what I want. I want to go with a safety fence, which is also a extremely effective barrier. So let's talk a little bit about your fences. And this is where you guys destroy in my opinion, you destroy the competition because you're extremely innovative. You're always coming up with new new hardware, new poles. Like y'all use good, strong corner posts. You have
Right.
anchor
Reinforced.
posts.
Yep.
Yeah, termination posts. Your
Yep.
gates are outstanding. I believe everybody's fabric's probably pretty close, don't you think?
Yeah, it's yeah, the mesh itself is similar. Um, but yeah, we try to go and exceed every level we can in creating the best quality fence. For instance, our powder coating is a two-part process, which most people do just the regular powder coating and they're good with it. But we actually have two layers of material that's bonding to that aluminum pole. So when kids ride their bikes around the pool, they scratch it with a, I used to work for a manufacturer that when they scratched it, it would be giant chunks of paint would come off. And I was like, oh wow, this is not good. But this company, the powder coating is just solid, which means that during the install, if the pole is on the ground, it's not going to get scratched up. And it's a very deep look. It doesn't give you like it's a has texture to it, so it really
Yeah.
looks good.
Yeah, it looks kind of marbled.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not the color, but the actual texture.
I was looking to see if
Looks
I had a pole around that was close.
no poles. Well, you got some way back there, but
Yeah, but it's a great, yeah.
and on the fences again, to be ASTM compliant, there's several things with fences.
Yes.
What is it? The closest to the ground, it has to be what is it? The
Less than
maximum
an inch off the ground.
less than an inch
So,
off the ground or the
right,
deck.
right.
Um, the any gaps
Less
uh,
than 4 inches,
less than
same.
4 inches, same
Yep.
as the net. It
Mhm.
can't be 4 inches. It has to be less than four
Less than,
inches.
that's right.
So, the post went on the installation. I mean, if there's really a lot of thought and planning going into when you set these posts. There's actual angles of drilling.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was just I was out installing this morning. We had an installer out today. So I picked up his job and went out there and I got there and the husband who actually signed the contract and was there with our sales guy, I walk in, he's like, "Oh, you're just going to drill a couple holes in the ground, you'll be done in no time." And I was looking at him like, well, not exactly, because there are specific angles, and if you get the angles wrong, it's not going to work. The
Right.
gate's not going to shut correctly. The gate, self-closing, self-latching gate is also ASTM. So if it's going to be an ASTM compliant fence, it has to have a self-closing, self-latching gate. So with the gate, for it to work correctly, you have a certain amount of room that you can adjust the gate latch. If it's wildly out of adjustment or the angles aren't correct, it's never going to work. Or maybe you can get it to work when you leave, but after it closes a couple times or somebody hits the fence, it doesn't work. So if it's done correctly, it should last a lifetime if it's installed correctly. Should be
Right.
no problem with it.
And y'all's product. We talked a little bit about the fabric, and I'm sorry, I bounce around a lot. You'll get used
Yeah.
to that, Dave. But y'all's like your post. Y'all have the strongest post in the industry.
Well, we have the ability to reinforce the bottom of the post, and that's something that is it's been going around for a long time. There are other companies that say we have an unbreakable pole or our pole is stronger. All the poles are perfectly strong when they're not being abused. So if and I've seen tests with cars. They'll take a car and run into it. I don't know when the last time you had a car in your backyard, but that's not a very realistic way of testing a pole. It's generally a child, bouncing off of it. Or I've even had full size adults run into the fence because they forgot it was there. And of course, I think there's a little alcohol involved in that situation, but it happens. And in most of the time, the pole can bend and it can be bent back. But if it's the 1 inch pole, sometimes they do break. High wind events, we have a couple areas out here where the wind can actually break a pole. In that case, we do have an answer for that. We have what are called ultra inserts that go in the bottom of the pole. And when the pole breaks, the fulcrum, or the weakest point, is down right at the ground level, because that's where the ground is holding it. And then the wind, or if someone were to take the pole and try to break it, you're grabbing it from the top and you're creating leverage. Well, it's right at the ground that it breaks. So we have ultra inserts that can actually be put in the pole. And I've never seen an ultra insert pole break. I've never even seen one bend. It basically makes it's solid aluminum for the first 18 inches of the pole, which is the weakest point of the pole, is the bottom where the fulcrum is. So yeah, it can be, we have those, we install them. I had some on my install today. I didn't use them because it didn't need it. But if you're in a really windy area, or if it's a high abuse area, corners or round turns in a high traffic area, we'll throw them in for sure.
Yeah.
And
they're easy to add too.
Yeah,
It
you
isn't
just
like
slide
you
them
have to
in.
order that post that's super strong. It's an
No,
insert that you can add to your already super strong post.
right. Yeah, it's real simple to slide in. The installers put them in. You'll never know they're there because you can't see them. They're inside. But
Right.
yeah, they work great. They're
And
really nice.
something else you guys do that I find is a real advantage is corner post. A
Yeah,
lot of times, most manufacturers, I go out there and they'll have just like they'll terminate two sections, and so they'll
right.
just have two posts on the end. What you guys do, and what you taught us to do, is you have this really strong, heavy duty corner post
Hmm.
that's also removable,
Right.
that you set in these hard turns, because when you're pulling in from two different directions, it will these a post is going to lean, but
Oh yeah.
these corner posts that you guys use, and you actually wrap around them with
Right.
like the continuation of your fabric.
Right.
It's you just go like in between two posts, and so you got to plan when you're laying out your uh, your your fence. You set these really strong corner posts, and man, they just hold up so much better.
Yeah, it's another part of an ASTM compliant fence is that it's tight enough that a child can't just walk up to it, pull it, and
Right.
crawl over it. So the corner post has to hold, and our corner posts are 1.25 inch square tube. It's about an 1/8 inch thick, top to bottom, and I have never seen one break. I never say never, obviously, because something could happen, but they're extremely strong. You could use them in between a 36-inch section, or you can replace one of the poles and use it in
Yeah.
lieu of a pole, and that just reinforces a turn. So we use it. Our goal is to use it anything that's close to a 45-degree angle turn up to a 90-degree.
Right.
So we'll use those corner posts. It does a few things. One, it makes it way stronger, which only makes the gate work more correctly. It
Right.
allows the gate to work constantly because it's not being moved or shifted. Um, and it takes up all the pressure. And not only that, but you're drilling less holes. So there are
Right.
less holes in the deck. It looks way better because you don't have, typically in our industry, they'll use a double pole corner. So like you said, you terminate and use two sections. So each corner has two poles. We are now teaching that. That's part of what I've been trying to do is come up with the quick guides. So we're trying to teach all levels from the DIY all the way through the most advanced installers. So to start out, it might be easier for someone to do that. And so we can teach that. But then that's also two holes. So if you're in the industry and you want to actually make money at doing this, the object is to do it quickly or efficiently. And so
And have a
if
better
you can
product.
drill less holes, it looks better, it's stronger, and there are less holes in the deck.
And,
So
in the
go
one of the
ahead.
bad things about when you do double poles like that, your gap is not consistent.
Well, it isn't if it's done the way most people do it. I was about to say something else, but if you right now I'm working on, and that's been my job for the past year, is coming out with these videos. I'm working on a video because there is a way to do it where it looks good. And it's very simple because the pole just needs to turn to the right angle. So all you do is you drill it a quarter inch less than 36. If you drill that section less than 36, quarter inch, it will allow the pole to turn so the face is on a 45. And when the face is on a 45, the section latch or the quick lock latch that I showed you earlier will actually go on the face, and then you have a consistent gap from the bottom to the top. But what you're talking about is where it's wide on the bottom and all of a sudden it tapers up like a teepee.
Yeah,
So
so
at the
it's
top,
almost
it's almost,
touching at the top.
and you can't undo it. It's
Right.
impossible to connect.
Too much
Yeah, it's
tension.
not. That comes from not properly installing the product.
Yeah, not planning well.
Yeah. So I'm doing a video on that as well because it's part of what we need to teach to do it the right way.
Yeah, in y'all's portal, that portal that y'all have,
Right, the knowledge base.
Yes, the knowledge base. It's, I mean, you're constantly adding more. What would you call it? More films, more information.
Yeah, a lot more content.
You're populating it. You're populating it constantly
every day. Yeah,
and we appreciate that. And another thing that people need to know: you answer the phone. And you're probably going to regret I ever told people that, but
well, we get phone calls, and I could tell you some awkward situations where I had to answer the phone. But like you called today, and the reason why I didn't answer your call as soon as you called, I know you're really upset at me because you're like, why isn't this guy picking up? But I was on the phone with somebody from Tennessee that just bought the business. He is very excited to get into installing. He's been installing, but he's been making mistakes. And so he's been calling me and asking me questions. So even before he called me the first time, he looked at all our videos. He went to the knowledge base. He looked at all the articles. He looked at the videos, and it really got him several steps ahead. So it's been very effective. I'm very excited. I'm excited to get more done because it's only like the tip of the iceberg. You know, I started out the videos as kind of an overview videos, and as we are populating with more and more videos, I'm starting to narrow in on more specific videos, like what happens when your bit is wobbling on your core drill. How do you fix it? Yeah. Little things like that. That when you're in the field, you're like, oh, I'm going to mess this guy's deck up. And then you can look at that, look it up on your phone. Oh, here's a video. You can watch it real quick. And in a matter of seconds, you're back up and running with the true bit. So little things like that are very helpful.
Now, we actually went out. I took me and two of my guys. We went out and we spent about a week with you guys. Well, a work week.
Yeah, we do training here.
So yeah, y'all do on-site training. I mean, your warehouse has got 1,000 holes drilled into it, but you also pour concrete pads for people to go.
Test.
That constantly, actually do the drilling, actually figure out the angles, and just to make sure that you have a good finished product. Because if it's not installed right, I don't care how good the fence is. It's not, you're going to have issues, and it may not be ASTM compliant. Something else I want to talk about is, I mean, even like terminating post, and terminating hardware. Y'all, I mean, you do realize you're like y'all's, what do you call it? Your cart or your shop, where people can go in and buy stuff. I mean, you're going to end up with 8,000 pages.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
You're constantly adding new things. But I mean, you also eliminate things. Yes, I mean, because you keep coming across new things and coming up with new ways to overcome it, and that's another thing. You guys, like there's to remain ASTM compliant. We talked about that. Less than 4 inches. Well, sometimes you get in situations where you cannot accomplish that because of push outs or whatever from a building, brick ledges and things like that. But you guys have developed these panels where you can put it on the where you're terminating. You can do side panels. You can even do custom as big as you want.
Yeah.
and make it work to make sure you fill in that gap to where
Yeah. Yeah.
you stay below the 4 inches, and it looks good. That it doesn't look like it's yeah, it looks like they just welded on a piece of
Right.
steel
Stick
on
a
the
piece
end
of
of it.
there.
No, it looks like it's part of the fence. Well, it is
It's
part
the
of the
same
fence.
color, same powder coating,
Yes.
same mesh, same screws, same molding. Everything is the same, but it's a square tube. And
Yeah.
so we can make these square tube panels. And that's also one of the videos that's up right now in our content on YouTube, as well as the knowledge base, is how to put one of those together. But yeah, it's important because every yard is different, and that's what I really enjoy about this. I'm a puzzle guy. I enjoy problems, and then I enjoy trying to fix that problem. So every yard you go into, you could have something like, and you may not even see it. Our guys will go out, our sales guys, they'll sell the job and go, okay, yeah, you got to just, there's 3 feet of dirt here, so we have 1 footer you're going to have to attach. And then our installers will go out and start digging in the dirt. And it's like, wait a minute, the pool pump is right there and the
And all
power is
this
over here.
plumbing. Yeah.
And so I've got, 6 1.5 inch white PVC, like 3 inches under the ground, which, a lot of times they're not putting that 12 inches where it should be. I can't put anything there. So what I have to do is I have to put the fence in where I can, and then I can fill that gap up with the side panel, and problem solved.
Yeah.
And it actually looks good.
And
Yeah.
like for elevations, like if you have like a 3 foot raised area in the yard that you're going to be taking the fence over, you'll have those angle panels.
Yeah. Angle is very important. Yeah. What we don't want to do is we don't want to give somebody a false sense of security, because you can put something in and you can be like, oh yeah, this thing's awesome. It looks great. And all of a sudden, and I was that kid. That's why this is
Yep.
good for me, because I was at 5. Actually, I was younger than 5. I was probably 3.5 to 4 years old, crawling up on my parents' roof and then walking across the roof and jumping off the other side in my sister's sandbox. And that was an everyday. I just love that. I mean, it was exciting every day. And I remember, still to this day, I can remember standing, because I could hear my sisters and my mom in the living room below saying, Dave, is that you? And I'd be real still, and as soon as I had the chance, I'd start walking again and jump off. So I know what kids are capable of, because I still would do that.
Yeah.
So kids are going to figure that out. And it's really easy to figure out that, oh, I can just stand on that wall and I could use the pole that they're using to go to the wall, and I can just step right over the fence, because it usually is, if you have a 3 foot wall that I'm going up over and attaching to the wall or barrier of the yard, and the fence is only 4 feet, that means I have a 1 foot gap, or a 1 foot section of fence that I just have to step over. Well,
Right.
any kid could do that. And the pole that's used to connect all this is just going to make it easier to swing around that, and I'm all of a sudden I'm in the pool area. So we have a 45-degree angle pole. It's called an angled raised panel. So the panel itself, the mesh comes down at a 45-degree angle, so that it will not allow a child to do that.
Yeah.
And
it looks good.
Important.
It looks
It ties
good.
right in. It actually makes a transition from one level to the other level, connecting it with a 45-degree angle instead of being choppy.
Yeah, it looks.
It's actually smooth.
Yeah, much more clean.
It's finished. Yeah.
Yeah, and something we pretty much covered most of it, but something I want to talk about is layout. A lot of people they think they like, okay, we're going to put one of these fences in here. First of all, they think, oh crap, we're not going to be able to see the pool. No, if you go dark, if you go like a black mesh, it's like looking through a window screen.
Yeah,
you see right through it. But what they think they want to do is they want to do all these curvy little, follow the shape of their real shapely pool.
Right.
And what they find out, or what we try to tell them, and we try to find some pictures, is when you start doing all that, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
No.
The straighter, the better. In big arcing curves, or just straight lines. And because if you start doing all this zigzag back and forth, well, from certain angles, you're going to have several layers of that material you end up having to look through, and several posts coming up in the same area. So if
and
you
they
can
won't
do
be
these,
straight.
No, they're not going to be straight. You're going to
Yeah.
be in the angles. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to get the angles right because when you're, if your fence is heading bending out this way, well, you have to drill against that, and the
Right.
same when you come back the other way. So you end up with
Yep.
all these cross posts, and then they straighten up. When you get the tension on them. So
Yeah.
people, listen to your installer. Hopefully, your installer can. Hopefully you call us, but
Yeah.
or if you're in Dallas Fort Worth area, but listen to us. It looks better if you do these nice straighter or wide curves, not do these sharp turns all over the place. It
Yeah.
it it
Looks real busy.
looks yeah, it
Yeah.
gets way too busy.
Yeah.
So and look for simpler ways. Maybe you don't want to go all the way around the pool. Maybe on the
Yeah. You
back
could do like a
side,
U or an L.
yeah, just do a
Mhm.
U or an L and block
Uh-huh.
off the pool area
Yeah.
and open up the rest of the yard.
Yeah.
And in I believe ASTM now is 20 inches off water's edge
Right.
is the minimum that you got to have. But wow, really, really give some consideration into going
Yeah.
wider.
Well, the thing is, and it's everybody does this, is they think, what do I need now? I need a fence. I need it now. So my child was, starting to walk. And just a few minutes ago, I was with the customer and she was saying the same thing. Our kid's about to walk. I'm really concerned, so we put it in. That gives her peace of mind. And so they think of that. And the cool thing, when I got in this industry, my daughter was just born. So I got to go through the process with her. And when they're just born, you're going to be in the pool with them, right?
Right.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
if you're a good parent.
Yeah.
So you're in there swimming with them and they're having fun. And they're getting older, they're growing up, and all of a sudden they get into the 7, 8, 9, 10, they have some friends over. Well, they're good swimmers. You don't have to be in the pool with them, but you should be inside the fence with
Right.
them, right? So let's think about having a place where you could comfortably sit. So don't have 20 inches all the way around the pool. Maybe make an area where you have some lounge chairs on the inside. And then from that, think about, well, the gate doesn't necessarily have to go right at the entrance, right where the steps are,
Yeah.
because if that happens, you open the gate up and you're walking right into the pool. So let's create a landing area, a place, if we can, let's move the gate to a place where you could walk in, put your stuff down, get ready to swim, and then walk over to get in the pool. So kids aren't walking right in. So there's that. And also, if you just bought the house, you probably don't know how you're going to use your yard. But most of the
Exactly.
people we install for have lived there for a while. So they know how to use their yard. And when I first started, a lot of the work that I had was redoing fences from the person who was the dealer in my area, because they were putting fences up so that the barbecue was inside the fence area. And
Yeah,
people
it's not cool.
barbecue, and you can't do that. You can't carry stuff and try to open the gate, and it just not a good idea. So make sure that things that you want outside of the pool that you use all the time, like you barbecue, need to be outside the fenced area, and the pool should be on its own. It's very important to go through the layout in the process. And again, that's another one of the videos that I have on the list
Yeah.
of what I'm going to be doing, because people need to know. And if you're buying this fence, you're like, well, I just need a safety fence. Okay, well, here's some things that you need to think about, and there may be things you didn't think about. So our videos are going to help with that.
Right. And is there anything else you want to talk about? So, some cool products you guys got? I mean,
Well,
we also do the safety covers, like the old fashioned loop lock style covers, but I'm not a big fan of those. They're too hard to put on, too hard to take off.
yeah, and it doesn't. I don't call them. They are safe. They are ASTM compliant if they're installed correctly. The problem is, like you said, they're really heavy, especially if they've
Yes.
been in the water. You're trying to get these things out. They work good if you're
It's a
trying to
two-man
close the
job.
pool. It is. It's called a winter cover for a reason. So you're winterizing your pool. Okay, California, we don't really have much of a winter. Although this year you would disagree when you were in Newport this year. It was a
Rained
crazy
on me every
storm
time
and
I went
cold.
there.
Oh, it's horrible. But so people who do not want to use their pool very often will use those, but and they have their place, but they're not as common. You
Yeah,
know,
so we don't winterize in North Texas, but we get super
yeah,
cold. We get a lot colder than
yeah,
you guys get, but
yeah,
we don't winterize. And so
right,
these people, they want to put these covers on. Well, out of sight, out of mind. You don't know what's going on with your pool under those
right,
covers. So I'm not a big
yeah,
fan. That's
yeah.
why I like the leaf net.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
we install a lot of those because you can see through them.
yeah. You can
Yeah,
see
look
through
at
it.
that. You can see all the way through that, and
Yeah.
that will keep every leaf, almost everything. Dirt's going to get through it, but dirt's going to get its way into the pool anyway. But it's going
Oh
to
yeah.
catch all that debris and
I'm
keep it
I'm a
out of the
believer.
pool.
This year, my avocado tree is, because of all the rain that we've had, is going off. It's blooming right now. And
Right.
there's little yellow flowers. Each bloom has probably, I don't know, I should count them someday, a couple hundred of these little flowers. And they're everywhere on the tree. And unfortunately, my tree is right over a section of my pool. And I wish I could show you my camera right now, because every once I look at it and it's like all these blooms are falling right on that leaf cover.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm not going to go home and have to scoop out all
Yeah.
this junk out of my skimmer.
Skimmers clogged up, and
Oh, it worries me. Thinking about getting it all clogged up, and so yeah, it is very effective, and I'm a firm believer. Believe it or not, this is the first year I've worked for this company for 5 years. I've been in the industry since 2008, and I just recently put a leaf cover on, and it's made a huge difference in how clean my pool is.
now I probably do more leaf covers than you do.
Yeah, you guys have your own seamstress that puts the border on
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, we
Yeah,
go
and you guys are
crazy.
good at it. Yeah, you guys are
Yeah,
very
and well,
accomplished.
we've gotten real innovative with cabling and all kinds of things, and
Yeah, yeah, it works
it's
good.
I'm a little bit like you. I'm not. I don't think I'm near as good as you are with the with the machine shop stuff and all that stuff. But I just try to figure it out on the go. And since it doesn't have to be ASTM compliant, it just has to keep
Yeah, that's a
debris out
good
of the
point.
pool.
A leaf
I
cover.
got more room for error, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
easier ways to fix. But
But a leaf
uh,
cover is not ASTM compliant.
no,
If
no,
you
it
put a
is not.
if
It's
it's over a net, yes, but on its own, no, it's not
right.
ASTM
I mean,
compliant.
it'd probably keep a little dog from going under and all that,
Yeah,
but I mean, we put them on, and before we can even load up the truck, we look back there, and like they'll have like two Goldens out there laying in the middle of the
yeah,
pool,
yeah.
about 4 inches deep in water because the cover's sinking down in the
Oh yeah,
water.
yeah,
And but it's like, well, it's going to support them. They shouldn't be on it. We'll tell the client, try to
yeah,
keep them off, but good luck.
yeah. Retrievers, you can't keep them out of the water.
No, they
They're
love
going
the
to get to
water.
it.
Uh,
But the leaf
well,
cover is also very light and easy to take off and put on, so it's
yes.
extremely
Oh my
light.
gosh, you can put them in a bag this big.
Yeah, yeah,
It's they're very easy to throw over your
yeah,
shoulder and just
yep,
store for the summer. But
right.
anything? Well, it seems like there's something else I want to discuss. Oh,
We
gates always need
Yes,
to be ASTM compliant. They have to open outward,
yes, has to open
and
away from the pool. Mhm.
yes, and they have to
Self-closing,
self.
self-latching.
Yes, and
The latch has to be at 54 inches.
54 inches.
Uh-huh.
That's to keep small children from being able to pop the top.
Right.
There's it seems like there's something else I want to talk about. You got something else you want to bring up?
We have a brand new gate, and we're really excited about it. It's called the Allsafe, and you mentioned this a little earlier about DIY. Uh, we have been, I call it, the way I put it is I say we've been kind of the Ferrari mechanics. Like we'll look at other cars and go, yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
okay, but it's not Ferrari, and so we kind of have that attitude because we always try to do a better job and make the product better constantly. And so we've kind of left part of the market out. And DIY is very important. There's a lot of people doing that now. And if you want to accomplish a pool fence on your own, um, I was given the task about a year ago to start writing the manuals and getting something ready for DIY. But I started looking at what was out there, and I'm watching the videos that are out there. It's like, well, it's kind of hard to follow. And I looked at the manuals from these companies. I'm like, yeah, and there's also mistakes. There's, distance from the pool, they're saying 3 feet. I'm like, well, if you tell everybody that, they're going to have a 3-foot gap in places they don't need to. And that's going to cause issues with, here in California, we have total of 3 feet from the house to the pool because our yards
Right.
are small. So you can't do that. So DIY is very important, we have a new gate. It's called Allsafe. And let me grab the gate because you can actually get the whole gate.
Oh, sure.
This is how it comes out of the box. So the latch is already attached. It's connected, but it's packaged, turned upside down. You have to remove it and put it in. And the hinges are already attached.
Well, that's
It's
going to
a
save
peg
it.
system, which means the bottom of the fence, we use the peg, which is a smaller hole, and it's just a straight hole, no angle. It couldn't be easier. And the key point to this, let me put this back. The key to the Allsafe gate is, and I found this when I was looking at the various manuals and videos. There's a whole video from these companies that are just on the gate. How do you put the gate together? And it's hard.
The
It's hard
gates
to
are not
follow along.
easy. Yeah, they're not
And
easy.
This comes complete. You open the box, you drill 2 holes 33 inches apart. They're plumb, and no problem. But
You may have to set the latch height.
no, you don't. It's
already
preset.
54 inches.
Yeah, you just all you do is you slide it. It's on a sliding mount that it mounts on permanently. You slide it off the mount it's on because it's packaged that way. It's because otherwise it'd be too long and too expensive to ship. Once you slide it off, you turn it over and you slide it on, and that's it. You put 1 screw in. And here's another cool part of it. Let me grab another prop.
And by the way, Dave, thank you for telling people about that new gate since I got about 6 of the others in stock. I appreciate that.
Well, these are not really meant for the advanced installers. Advanced installers we're going to use our traditional gates. So we have double pole truss, and then we have the single pole, which is the rectangular post truss for our gates. So this is designed mostly for DIY, but it does have uses like just a couple of days ago, the guy wanted us to install a gate in a brick ribbon that goes across a little area so his gardener can get in. And it's like, well, the brick ribbon is just brick that has mortar between it.
Right.
So it's not a good idea to try to put, it may work when we leave. It may work for a little bit, but once this gate starts slamming closed, someone leans up against it, it could dislodge the bricks. So it's best to use to install into a traditional deck to make sure. And what we do is we actually pour a slab if we're going to be in that situation. So we have a 4-inch thick slab that's a foot wide by 4 feet wide, and we can drill into it and install our traditional gate. But with this gate, you can actually drill it in and use what we call in that situation, we could use a paver style install. So we could actually put PVC tube into the ground that goes 18 inches down into the ground and just slide the gate in. So it does have its places, or in dirt. So it does have some uses for the more advanced installers, but it's mostly geared for the beginners. But here's another thing that's really cool about the gate is the gate is going to come with what we call a peg shifter. Now, I showed you the peg on the bottom. Now, I said you have to drill these 2 holes 33 inches apart, right? And at the bottom of the fence has 2 of these pegs. Well, those pegs are not going to move. So what happens if your drill walks or you accidentally drill it just a little bit off? If you try to put it in the ground, it's going to just wedge in there and it's not going to work. So we came up with this. It's called the peg shifter, and you can actually pull this out. It comes out, it's going to come out already because of shipping. It's going to be disassembled and you just have to slide this in and put a screw in. But you can see right now, this is right in the middle, get this straight. But if I'm an 1/8 inch off on one side, I can actually take a shim off this peg shifter, turn it over, put the shim back on, and suddenly you can now see that this peg is an 1/8 inch over.
That's great.
So both sides will have this. So you could be a 1/4 inch off by making a mistake.
Wow.
And
That's,
it doesn't have to be beginner. It happens to even advanced installers.
yeah.
Either the drill walks or you just didn't start it in the right exact place. So the peg shifter is going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
No, that's awesome. That's huge. But you know what? Before we go, there's a point or a topic I want to bring up.
Yeah.
There's been people, a large poll organization that's my understanding is they've gone around the U.S. lobbying that if you have an ASTM approved cover, that you no longer need a barrier like a fence.
Yeah.
And but the problem is it's like they're not ensuring the cover's installed. So somebody,
Right.
if they just own the cover, if these cities are approving this, then somebody just can own the cover, have the cover in their garage,
Sure.
but the neighbor next door may have a small child that now can
Yeah.
wander in and fall
Yeah.
in their pool. And
I did that
I'm
all
very,
the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very concerned about that, and I really want to light some fires under some people. Go to your local community if you find out that they're adopting this exception to
Yeah.
the ASTM rules or the codes and the compliance and all that.
Yeah.
Go to your city, tell them that's unacceptable because that is a hazard. Fences are where it's at. You still got to keep people out of the pool area because
Yeah.
covers aren't always on. And my
No, no,
my
that's the thing.
understanding, some of these auto cover people lobbied for this, and
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
but here in Texas, these auto covers rarely are they closed when we
Yeah.
show up to service pools.
And
But pool
unfortunately, they
gets too
break.
hot. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they do break. What
Yeah.
if they break open? Now that
Yeah.
pool area is completely
Power goes
unprotected.
out. Yeah. You
Absolutely.
can't move it. Well, they do have manual override. A lot of them do, but yeah, I've unfortunately heard of a lot of accidents when the cover has been stuck. The company I used to work for also had a cover division, which did all auto covers. And unfortunately, we had to hear about some stories that happened because the cover was left open. But that goes to the point, and I hear this all the time when I'm out in the field. Oh yeah, we're going to get a fence, and then when we have parties, we can take it down. And I'm like, no, that's the time you want it up, because having a fence as opposed to a cover or a net is you could have kids that should not be near the pool, still in the backyard, riding their bikes around, having fun. And the people that should be in the pool will be on the other side of the fence, having fun. The two can coexist peacefully. And you, as a host, can be barbecuing, doing your thing, serving drinks, making sure everything's good. And with the fence up there, you can have both things going on at the same time and not worry that there's going to be an issue. And I personally experienced this.
And
very important.
give some thought to that when you are laying out your fence. So you do have room for several
Right.
people in the pool area and several people outside the pool area. If your yard will allow that.
Right. Yeah,
don't just wrap tight around the pool. It's
you
like,
feel like
okay,
you're
it's
in prison
protected.
when you're in your own pool. Yeah.
Yes, and it just doesn't give you that freedom of movement.
Right.
That because kids want to run and jump and play. That's what kids
Oh
do.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but
That's how you swim. Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss, or?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you and
Well, I appreciate your
everything
time.
you
You
guys
spent a
are
lot of
doing.
time with me. This is a good long one. I appreciate your time, and Dave, I'm sure you'll be hearing from me soon. I ring your bell quite a bit.
You have my number.
Yes, I definitely
just
got
don't
your
say
number.
it on the air.
All right.
We have more new stuff coming out though. It's really exciting. We have a gate that we're working on that's going to be a service gate that's not ASTM compliant. And why I'm excited about that, it sounds kind of weird that I'd be excited about that, but we're working on a gate that is, like I said, a service gate. So if you're your gardener or your pool guy needs to get in and out of your system, you can actually install this gate. It has a lock, so it's actually a padlock that that person can have. And so we're always working on stuff. We're always thinking of seeing the problem, we come up with a solution. And it's really fun because Reed, the owner of the company, has set up, as you've seen the facility, it's almost like a test lab. It's a
Seriously.
giant facility, and everywhere you go, there's fence set up, there's things we're testing and making sure it works correctly. And it's a blast. They have to actually drag me out of here at night because I really enjoy working. It's too much fun.
Well, your enthusiasm shows. I know when we were out there, you love talking about it. You love doing it. You love teaching
it's a
it.
great industry. Yeah, I really
huge teacher's heart on all you guys. And y'all are probably the most organized.
It's a great team. Yeah,
y'all are
Lewis
probably the
and
most
Reed
organized
and
company I've
Mike.
ever seen in my life. It's
that's Reed. He's the organizer.
it's
his passion.
We'll walk into y'all's was that your lobby area, and there must be all those TV screens. You feel like you're at NASA.
We're launching satellites as well.
Dave, I appreciate your time, and
thank you,
we'll be talking to you soon. And best of luck to you, bud.
Great, thank you too.
All right, take care.